Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is Tuesday, April 21st, 2026. This is Truth News. I am Walter Bass, and it is another day in this Orwellian wet dream that used to be a fine country, used to be a civilized nation, that is now just a tribal group of Satanists, sex addicts, pedophiles, murderers, thieves, and psychopaths that have destroyed a once great nation. That's right, we are living in an Orwellian wet dream right now. As always, it is day 1685. Let me double check that just to be sure as I type my emails every day. 1685 days since my son was kidnapped, violently sexually assaulted, abused, neglected, trafficked, tortured, and murdered by this man, serial child murderer, State Judge Kelly Hansen of Marietta, California, and the County of Riverside, Kelly L. Hansen. He is the reason for these YouTube videos. He is the reason for hundreds of thousands of emails. He is the reason for phone calls every single day across this country, as well as 2 restraining orders, one from Marietta Police Department, one from Riverside County Sheriff's Department, and 2 cease and desist letters, one from Oklahoma City Detective Intelligence, one from Midwest City Police Department, as no one can do anything about this 17-year career child rapist, child murderer, child sex trafficker, serial kidnapper, State Judge Kelly L. Hansen. I always like to pay honor where honor is due and give him the attention and credit he so deeply desires. Tonight, we're going to take an overview of this Orwellian wet dream we are living in. We're going to look at some numbers. We're going to look at some real life, just facts, just truth. That's all we report here on Truth News is the truth. There's enough lies and deceit and psychological and emotional warfare. There's enough drama going on in the world, and we need to set this ship right. And matter of fact, I want to play a clip from a guy. This was on my YouTube Reels. And I found this guy to be very, very actually just spot on. And I want to play this for you for a second.
I finished my conversation last time I was here, but these gentlemen over here threatened me with arrest for my First Amendment right. Well, equal treatment under law, right? Thank you. Okay, so today if y'all threaten to arrest me, make sure you actually have the law that I broke. Go ahead and get GPT chat. This is going to happen in a minute, and I'm going to ask for it before you threaten me with arrest, so don't look stupid. Okay. Men. So in this population, you have roughly 350,000 people. With the 350,000 people, about 70% of them men. 18 years and older is about 120,000 men. If just 0.1% of the men in this town would do what I do, this city council meeting would be overflowing with men. Over 200. If there's more than 200 men here, what do you think happens to these cops when they try to illegally arrest us? What would you do? Would you arrest 200 men for telling you, I don't believe in you and you're a piece of shit? Would you? You see how the tides would turn if y'all would just listen? And then you could take those 200 men and do it across the entire United States at every city council meeting. And it would take the men, 1 hour a month to change the entire world. Men could change the entire world if they just sat up here and did what I did. Thank you for not threatening me for arrest. I appreciate it. Cussing is legal. Right, Mr. Weasley. Mr. Weasley, last time I was here you said cussing was illegal. You have no statement now? Y'all learned. Thank you for your time. Before I leave, your officer also understands constitutional rights, as he told me fuck you in the hallway last time I was here. So fuck you and have a nice day. I finished my conversation last time.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have to agree with his position. Until we stand up as one, we're not going to vote our way out of this. If you think Hakeem Jeffries or Chuck Schumer or any of these other Democrats are going to get in power and just suddenly have a change of heart, suddenly have an epiphany, and just after 20, 30, 40 years of doing what they want, suddenly they're going to serve we the people, you are sadly mistaken. Ladies and gentlemen, the country, the future of our nation, our entire society, our children and grandchildren's future depends on what we do right now. Right now, the pages of history are being written as I make this video. This is not a joke. I'm not being hyperbolic. I'm not exaggerating. I'm not trying to promote drama. Our children and grandchildren will suffer or reap the benefits or consequences of what we are doing right now in this moment. That's the truth. So let's go ahead and get into tonight's show, which is basically just an overview. And I got to get one more name because there's I left out the labor secretary's name because I want to go over some things. She's in a group of people. Lori Chavez DeReamer. Let me write that down. As you can see, my hands are filthy from working all day, and I was putting this show together. It's 10 till 8 where I am. I get up at 4:30, between 4:30 and 5 every morning. So I got to work 8 hours a day, and then I got to take care of my mom, run her around, go grocery shopping, take care of my dog, and then I got to do dinner, and then I have to put the show together. So my time is pretty much consumed because I could be playing basketball with my son. I could be fishing. I could be taking a walk. I could be doing other things, but no. I got to sit here and do all this research, take all these notes, and every day make YouTube videos because my taxpayer-funded public servants steal children, rape children, sell children, and eat children. That's the truth. That's the truth. And we'll get to that about why we're in Iran and what that has to do with the children in America. But before we do, let's take an overview. So right now in the United States of America, there are 30 million Americans with no health insurance. Now, my elderly mother needs her health insurance. She has to take eye drops for glaucoma. She has to take blood pressure medication. I myself maintain my health with strict diet, discipline, workout, proper breathing, proper resting, no poisons, no soda, no alcohol, no drugs, no pills, none of that. No. That is not healthy. But the elderly, when you get older, your body breaks down. I'm sure you need certain supplements or whatever the case may be. But I digress. There are 30 million Americans with no health insurance. There are 800,000 homeless Americans, and I think that number is actually more like 1 million at least. Our infrastructure is completely dilapidated. Right here in Oklahoma City just yesterday, they had to shut down Interstate 40 because of concrete falling off a bridge. Let me repeat that. In the United States of America, concrete is falling off of bridges onto interstates because our infrastructure is completely dilapidated. You know why? Because it was never updated or maintained. It was the bare minimum because they're too busy stealing all of our money. We are $40 trillion in debt. $40 trillion in debt. Can you please tell me how we're $40 trillion in debt? There's nearly 1 million homeless Americans, 30 million Americans that don't have health care, and our roads are dilapidated, our bridges are falling apart. Can anyone explain that to me? Detroit looks like it's been bombed. LA is filled with meth, homeless, and porn. New York is filled with homeless. Can anyone explain to me where the $40 trillion in debt, where's that money going? I can't even drink the water coming out of my tap. I have to buy bottled water because I pay a water bill and I can't drink my water. So where's that money going for the water bill? Or what's the point of paying a water bill for water I can't even drink? Just to bathe? Just to take a shower? That's what I'm paying a water bill for, strictly for showers? We have rapists, murderers, predators, and pedophiles making millions of dollars. And they're claiming we won a war with Iran in which 25 aircraft have been shot down. It's cost us $1 billion a day. Hundreds of soldiers have been wounded. They say 13 have died, but I disagree with that number. I think it's more in the hundreds. Of course, they're not going to tell us. You think ABC, NBC, CBS, or Fox News is going to actually tell you the real news? They're going to tell you what's approved by the White House spokesperson or President Pedophile. Pedophile punk, as I like to call him. We have Nancy Mace sleeping with staffers, making out with female staffers, which I can't believe because Nancy Mace and Miriam Bowser had a debate in Congress about what a woman was. They were both asking each other, and they're both women. Miriam Bowser and Nancy Mace, both women. And they were both asking each other, do you know what a woman is? Do you know what a woman is? You would think with Nancy Mace sleeping with women, she would know what a woman is. I'm just saying. So we have Nancy Mace sleeping with staffers, Eric Swalwell drugging, choking, and raping staffers. We have Tony Gonzalez sleeping with staffers and then setting them on fire. We have booze, cocaine, pills, more prevalent on Pedophile Hill than a high school rave party. You could go to a rave and find less sex and drugs than on Pedophile Hill. That's the truth. We have, I went through the aircraft. Oh, by the way, the 25 aircraft shot down, 13 military members dead, hundreds injured, are by a nation, a country with no Navy, no Air Force, no anti-aircraft, no radar, and no leaders. Basically, some backwoods people living in the desert with nothing. They have no Navy, no Air Force, no anti-aircraft, no radar, or no leaders. Shot down 25 United States military planes or helicopters, including an F-35. They killed 13 United States military members. Hundreds more have been wounded by a country with absolutely no military or no leadership. Figure that one out. Is the United States getting its butt kicked by some people in the desert with like pitchforks and rocks? What are they throwing rocks at these planes? I don't understand. So our labor secretary, Lori Chavez DeRemer, is a drunk, documented, getting drunk at work, using our tax money to go to Vegas and go to strip clubs. And her husband is banned from the labor building on Pedophile Hill because he sexually assaulted 2 female employees of the labor department. Which, if you're familiar with terminology, rape is what it's called when you do it in Washington, D.C. They call it sexual assault. For the rest of the country, it's called rape. But when it happens in Washington, D.C., it's called sexual assault. So, and one of those was on film. One of those was on camera. So the woman, Lori Chavez DeRemer, who's supposed to be in charge of the workforce of the United States of America, ensuring that we have proper pay, proper rights, proper benefits, and proper employment opportunities. She's in Vegas getting drunk with her staffers and going to strip clubs while her husband is raping her coworkers. Do you see why we're living in an Orwellian wet dream yet? But wait, there's more. We have our Secretary of Defense who thinks that Quentin Tarantino wrote the Bible. He quotes Quentin Tarantino movies as biblical verses, and he's a rabid binge drinker. Well documented. Shows up to work drunk. He was showing up to work drunk on Fox News when he was a Fox News weekend anchor or weekend host. Now he's in charge of the United States of America's defense. And he's a drunk. And he's from Fox News. What's next? Brett Baird? Are we going to have Greg Gutfeld running the Department of Defense next? But I'll go on. But wait, there's more. We have an FBI director, old Crash Patel, the plastered podcaster, sniffing cocaine, binge drinking, can't be located, can't be found, using private jets to fly all over the world, going to the Olympics, hammering beers with the Olympic team in Milan, and denying he has a drinking problem. We saw you there. We saw you chugging beers on the taxpayer's dime while Nancy Guthrie still hadn't been found. Charlie Kirk's murderer still hasn't been found. State Judge Kelly Hansen still hasn't been arrested. The Epstein files, where are they at again? Where are they at again? Where's all those boxes and boxes and boxes of evidence we saw the FBI carrying off Epstein Island? Where did that go? Is that in the Poodle Room in New York City? Where's that at? So, the Labor Secretary, the Secretary of Defense, the FBI Director, Lindsey Graham, Nancy Mace, and many more, all drunks. They're drunks. They're alcoholics. They're trash. They're alcoholics and sexual deviants. That's the truth. All of them. We got Larry Loomer, the president's favorite fellatio artist, bragging about giving fellatio to an 80-year-old dementia-ridden pedophile. I can't believe I'm saying this. Let me say that again so it'll sink in. We have Laura Loomer bragging about giving fellatio to an 80-year-old dementia-ridden pedophile. Kash Patel is currently suing The Atlantic and Sarah Fitzpatrick, who wrote a truthful article citing at least 9 sources. I hear now there's up around 24 sources that they cited. Hotel workers, restaurants, bars, liquor stores. And they wrote a truthful article from The Atlantic by Sarah Fitzpatrick about Crash Patel, the plastered podcaster, and his absence from work, his drinking, his passing out, having to breach his office because he won't answer the phone or the door. And he's suing for defamation of character. Excuse me. The irony in this, if you haven't figured it out yet, defamation of character. Wouldn't you have to have character for it to be defamed? Can you defame a drunk, a rapist, a sexual deviant, a cokehead? Can you defame a cokehead, alcoholic, sexual deviant? I mean, is that possible? So you're telling me if there's a crackhead out there and I say, hey, buddy, you're a crackhead, you need help, he can sue me for defamation of character? That's where we are? If I go to a strip club and say if I call a stripper, say like, hey, you're a stripper, can she sue me for defamation of character? I don't understand. I thought you had to have character for it to be defamed. That's not making sense to me. So that was all the notes I took on the show. Like I said, I worked all day. I had errands to do after work, and then I had to put this show together. And I just can't believe it's the United States of America in 2026. And this is where we are. We have a pedophile president married to the world's most famous prostitute who has a liquor cabinet. For the presidential cabinet is a liquor cabinet. Let's call it what it is. We're at war with Iran, and it's not a war. And I'm going to tell you, while I got time, the reason we're at war with Iran. It's because we have sold out of children. You see, for decades, CPS, the Safe Family Adoption Act, confidentiality laws, family courts, all of these entities and organizations were used to secretly traffic children. And we have trafficked ourselves out of children. There's no more children. There's not enough to sell, not enough to go around. That is why they imported 300,000 children from the border. And those children were never found, never located. And they sold them. And now we're out of children. That is why we went to Venezuela, kidnapped Maduro, the president, and tried to take over his oil and all of his resources in his country. You see, because America's number one resource for decades has been children. That's been our cash crop. That's been our number one export. That's been the backbone of the United States economy. Stolen children. That's right. That's the truth. Look it up. I've done shows with facts, history, legislation. I got Georgia Senator Nancy Schaefer giving speeches on it. And they sold out. We're sold out of kids. We're out. That's it. We have nothing to export. We sent all of our manufacturing and factory jobs to other countries. We put all of our eggs into one basket, and that was the child sex trafficking basket. And now that basket has been completely depleted. And now we have no children. So we need something to sell. We need some way to make money. We need some way to hold a toehold in the world stage. And we don't have one. So we went to Venezuela at first because it was a small country and it was we're bullies. So we went in, sent the CIA, some military special ops, and we went in, kidnapped the president, and we tried to get the oil companies to take their oil so we could traffic it around the world. And the oil companies said, sorry, Venezuela's oil is no good. It's garbage. It's not worth it. We already looked at it. The CEO of Exxon said that in the White House. That can be documented. You can go look up the video online. And then they got the bright idea. So we need more oil. We need better oil. Let's go to Iran and we'll take their oil. And Iran said, no, you're not taking our oil. It's our oil. You're not doing that. America says, you don't understand. We're America. And Iran said, you don't understand. You're not doing that. You sold kids. You sold out of kids. Too bad. So sad. You're not hijacking our oil. So the more Iran said no, the more America says you have to. But you have to. But you have to. And Iran says, we're not doing that. So then they closed the Strait of Hormuz and says, fine, nobody's getting oil. If America thinks they're going to come over here and steal our oil and sell it around the world so they can line their pockets because they sold out of kids, they decided to sell children, and they've sold out. Now they need something else to sell. Iran said, well, nobody gets oil. That's it, because America's trying to bully us. Nobody gets oil. And now China, India, Pakistan, all these other countries, the Middle East, they're all like, we need our oil. Well, then you better tell America to leave us alone. America's trying to steal our oil because they sold out of kids. And then Iran shut the Strait of Hormuz down. No oil for anyone. And America tried to get in there, and Iran said, you're not doing this, and it's not happening. So then, pedophile punk Donald Trump got the idea, okay, so you're not going to give us your oil? That's fine. I'll send Navy blockades over there, and we'll just steal it. When the ships come out, we're just going to start hijacking oil. We're going to hijack the ships, take the oil, and sell it, because we need something to sell. We don't have anything to sell. All of our car manufacturing has been shipped to Mexico or China. We don't produce anything here in America. We got some fruit. That's about it. We got some oranges and some blueberries. We make some syrup up in Vermont. But other than that, we've been selling kids, and we're out of kids, so we got to sell something. And Iran said, well, too bad. You're not selling our oil. You're not hijacking our oil. And if you even try, we're going to shut the strait down, and nobody gets oil. Nobody's going to get oil until America figures out they're not going to steal oil from Iran because they sold out of children. That's the truth. And I can back that up with the Safe Family Adoption Act. I can back it up with Georgia Senator Nancy Schaefer's testimony at the Eagle Summit Conference. I can back it up with the international adoption agencies around the nation of America that's sending kids all over. I can back it up with the moon cult back in the 50s, having ties to U.S. presidents. I can back it up with Erica Kirk, TPUSA, trafficking from Riverside County to Romania. I can back it up with the Child Protective Services of America, which is the largest child sex trafficking organization on planet Earth. I can back it up with Hollywood, trafficking children. I can back it up with Maricopa County, trafficking children. I can back it up with Greg Laurie of Harvest Church for 20 years, trafficking children from Riverside County to Romania. I can back it up with Romanian Angels, where Erica Kirk was trafficking children to the United States military. I can keep going for days and days and days and days and days. I've done show after show after show on child sex trafficking by the United States government. I've made, I think, 137 of these videos, 138, let me give a count. And every bit of it's true. And guess what happens every single time I call someone around this country, any law enforcement, and tell them I need to report child sex trafficking? You know what their response is? I've made 138 videos, by the way. From Midwest City, Chief Whipley here in Midwest City, Oklahoma, to Jaron Stevens, Brad Cotton, Jason Hodges at the Oklahoma City Detective Intelligence, to Secret Service Agent Humphreys here in Oklahoma City, to Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco, Attorney General Rob Bonta, U.S. Attorney Adam Gordon, Governor Gavin Newsom, Congresswoman Lauren Boebert, Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, all the way back to Kevin McCarthy when he was Speaker of the House. All of these people, Eric Swalwell, I've called them all. Every one of them. You know what they all say? Have you had a mental health check? Have you talked to anyone? Because you're reporting child sex trafficking by the United States government. And we can't have that. Just today, I got laughed at. I called this number right here. I'm going to show you the number I call. And I call this number every single day. I call around this country every single day. The 202, what is it? 707-7111. That is 911 on Capitol Hill at the Library of Congress. They laughed at me, as usual. I'm used to it. I've been at this 1,685 days. They laughed at me on the phone today. And he said, have you had a mental health check? Have you talked to anyone? This is regarding the rape, murder, sale of children. Cannibalism of children. And these psychopaths who rape, murder, sell, and eat children laugh and ask, are you okay mentally? They asked Candace Owens if she's okay mentally. Looney Laura Loomer, who gave fellatio to an 80-year-old dementia-ridden pedophile, is in the President of the United States of America's ear as a top advisor. These people, their only defense to any truth that we tell, all of us, whether it's Nate Vahala, Candace Owens, Alex Jones, Tucker Carlson, Megyn Kelly, Theo Vaughn, all of them, Ian Carroll, their only response to the truth is, you're crazy. You need to see someone. You need some pills. You need some Xanax or some Valium. Maybe some oxycodone. Maybe some, I don't know what other pills there are. I'm sure there's tons of pills. I've never done pills a day in my life. Haven't done drugs or alcohol in almost 10 years. 8 years, no drugs, no alcohol. No marijuana. Nothing. Go to the gym, read, eat healthy, meditate, pray. Daily rituals, daily habits I've done for years. And these people, let's call them. We're at 31 minutes. I think we can call them. Let's see what they have to say. I'll put them on speaker. Watch them.
911, where's the emergency?
I'd like to report child sex trafficking of Grayson Bass by State Judge Kelly Hansen.
Yes, Mr. Bass.
Oh, how do you know my name?
You just said it.
No, I didn't. I said Grayson Bass.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on one second.
This is what they do. See? Every day. Every day.
The police protective intelligence operations.
Hey, I need to report child sex trafficking of Grayson Bass by State Judge Kelly Hansen, who kidnapped him, stuck his dick in him, and murdered him 1,685 days ago. You see, ladies and gentlemen? You see what we get? And remind you, this organization gets $1 billion a year of our taxpayer money. They have nothing to say for children. Children being raped, children being kidnapped, children being sold, tortured, abused, neglected, trafficked. What do you have to say? You're on Truth News right now. What do you have to say? Nothing. Nothing. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to close with a Bible verse. I did go a little bit over. I always like to check in and let everyone know what's going on with the rape, murder, sale, and cannibalism of children by the United States government, which is lie, deny, project, deflect, all of this. Lie, deny, deflect, and project. So I think this is going to be a fitting verse. Let's see which one it was. Psalms 9, we're going to start at 3. Psalms 9:3. When my enemies turn back, they stumble and perish before you. For you have maintained my just cause. You have sat on the throne judging righteously. You have rebuked the nations. You have destroyed the wicked. You have blotted out their name forever and ever. The enemy has come to an end in perpetual ruins, and you have uprooted the cities. The very memory of them has perished. And that's what's going to happen before this is all said and done with this regime, the Epstein regime. They're going to be forever remembered as the most evil, diabolical, corrupt, satanic, demonic occult of creatures to ever set foot on U.S. soil. That's the truth. So, ladies and gentlemen, as always, thank you for your time. Thank you for your attention. I ask that you please like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Share these videos, and I will see you tomorrow.